folks. Welcome to our podcast, Below the Belt. Welcome to our podcast. It's such a lovely Monday outside, at least in the national capital city of Georgetown, Guyana, where we host our international podcast from those of you joining us from around the world. How are things where you are? What kind of a weekend did you guys have? I had a fantastic weekend. Took some time for some self care last evening. Wish we had some more time, folks. Took the family to the theater. We went to see the new Spider-Man film that is out. Quite an epic film that is. Folks, we said to you guys over the weekend, you got to take some time out, Take some time out for you. Nobody else is going to do it. Nobody else is going to do it. And in the hustle and bustle of today's world, you got to take some time out for yourself. Your mental health is quite important. Take some time out for you guys. Take some time out for you. Quite an interesting week ahead of us. We're going to get to that just now. Quite an interesting week ahead of us. We have with us the one and only Jai Paul Sharma. We're going to ask him to mute at his end for us. Still hearing him a little bit coming through. And we're going to have him just now live and direct. And as you know, Jai Paul Sharma is the former junior minister within the Ministry of Finance. So you know a thing or two about what he's talking about. And he's recently said that the speaker basically is the Speaker of the National Assembly, Mansour Nadir, is basically squatting in the National Assembly and outlined systematically why he think that is so. As you guys know, a no confidence motion was filed against the speaker just yesterday by the APNU AFC coalition. And so it's quite an interesting week. We hear them boys want discipline some of the opposition MPs this afternoon when the National Assembly sits at 2 o'clock. So we're looking for that. We're looking to see what comes of that. The guys are breeding threats. We don't take too kindly to threats. We run things. Things don't run. We guys, where are you joining us from today? And how is the weather where you are? We want to see those shares and we want to see those emojis as well. And we're going to have the one and only Jai Paul Sharma with us shortly. Gloria Chester. Good to see you, Gloria and Patricia Kisoon, Marlon King. Let us know how you guys are receiving our audio. Let us know. Let us know how you guys are receiving the audio at your end. And we're going to try to adjust it as much as possible. But good to see each and every one of you folks like Abigail Washington, beautiful folks like Cheryl Ben and Doreen Clark, Charlotte Alicia, Carl Fordyce, Carol Hudson, Clive Jackson. Wonderful, fantastic folks. Hope it's great wherever you guys are. Robin Leander says Maryland, USA is closed. Maryland, USA is cold. Desiree Smart Felix says it's snowing. It's snowing where she is. Wesley Ward says it's chilly. Let me see. The comments are going by so fast. I want to get Wesley's comment again to see where it's chilly. Wesley says it's chilly. Wesley Ward says it's chilly in New York. Carl Fordyce says he's hearing us loud and clear. And Charlene Juice at Tendre is saying it's 25 degrees and cold. I'm assuming that's in the USA as well. Some part of the USA, Charlene. Good to see Mark Allman and Esteline Sinclair, Floret Jacob Sward. All of you great folks. Tessa Isaacs Graves Andy says it's cold in Orlando. It's cold in Orlando. I thought it was supposed to be tropical weather in Orlando. Good to see each and every one of you where you guys are joining us. We always try to get away with some to get by or to move aside some housekeeping matters. Where are my words today? When we start the program, and in the national capital city outside, it's 26 degrees. 26 degrees. And weather.com is telling us there's a 47% chance it's going to rain this afternoon. It does feel a little humid, but it's telling us all right, that has been updated. My apologies. That has been updated. It's 29 degrees outside. Weather.com says it feels like 33 degrees, however, and there's a 24% chance that it's going to rain this afternoon. 24% chance. It's a low percentage, but you might have to just remember to walk with your umbrella. Just in case, guys, how things are where you are. As we said, lots of things happening this week. And as we were coming on, we got a message that said that it's exciting times we're living in. It's exciting times. They seem to have found another boat with Guyanese registration in some illegal activities. They seem to have found another boat. The folks, last week, the Senegalese alerted us that they would have intercepted a Guyanese boat bearing Guyanese registration, intercepted that boat. Apologies there. Intercepted that boat, and three freight container load of arms and ammunition was found aboard that boat. So we are watching that. We are watching that. I saw some information that suggests the police force has launched an investigation. We don't know how far that's going to go. But another bit of information we're picking up is that a Guyanese flag vessel was found to be engaged in illegal Iranian oil transfer. And we're picking this up actually out of Ghana Daily News. Respect and manners to the guys over there. And it reads that according to the Iranian media house, Iranian International, advocacy group United Against Nuclear Iran has recently released a satellite photo of two oil tankers engaging in ship to ship transfer of Iranian crude oil, that is, which is currently under U.S. sanction. According to UANI Chief of Staff Claire Jungman, they managed to spot the vessels that were transferring Iranian crude oil east of Singapore after clouds cleared in the South China Sea. Yep, 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 yep. Another Guyanese flagged boat, they're saying, is involved in this illegal Iranian crude oil transfer, which again is under U.S. sanction. So we're gonna have some more information on that on us on our in our subsequent broadcast program. In the rings, a lot of thing happening. Them boys come back. Them boys come back, people. Them boys come back. So that being said, we got this information with the speaker. No confidence motion moved by the parliamentary opposition against the Speaker of the National Assembly, Mansour Nadir, and as well as Jaipal Sharma, the former minister within the Ministry of Finance, coming out yesterday and saying, according to his own research and legal opinion, the Speaker of the National Assembly is basically squatting in the National Assembly. And folks, I would like to welcome my guest for this afternoon. Let us make him feel welcome wherever we are picking up the broadcast from today around the world, wherever you're picking it up from. Folks, we want you to share the live stream. We want you as well. We want to see those emojis. We want to know how you guys are feeling. It's the first day of the week, and we tell you all it's pace and power in 2022. Jaipal Sharma, sir, welcome below the belt. How are you today?
Thank you, Sherrod, for your invitation to be part of Below the Belt.
And thank you for
Uh,
accepting. Thank you for accepting.
how are you receiving me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. No trouble on my end.
Okay, thank you.
And how have you been keeping? I haven't talked to you officially. We've been talking privately. But how have you been keeping since this install regime? I call them jagabats and trench crappos. How have you been keeping, sir?
Well, Sherrod, no things tighten, and I have to keep in my corner in my lane before they get hit by something.
Hit by the economic pressures. Hit by the economic pressures. So let's take what's happening currently. As you may be aware, the combined opposition, the parliamentary opposition, that is, filed a no confidence motion against the Speaker of the National Assembly just yesterday, Mansour Nadir, in addition to another motion calling for the sanction of several governmental MPs for the conduct at the passage of the Natural Resource Fund Act in the National Assembly late December. And then, incidentally or coincidentally, you have come out as well, basically saying that the Speaker is squatting in the National Assembly. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sharad, you would know that this is nothing new. I had made that Facebook comment and post some months back,
Hmm.
sometime I believe in November. Uh, so I had saw this as being wrong since the installation of the PAP administration. So I did not follow the National Assembly that much because when things go wrong, I don't want to be a part and parcel of things that goes wrong. You
Hmm.
would notice I was not part of the recount because I never believed that you should have a recount and a declaration of votes based on statement of recount. So I don't participate myself in things that I deem to be illegal. So I would have made that comment on that post. And this morning, having my dry biscuit and lemongrass tea, I would have read on social media that the opposition would have put no confidence in the Speaker of the National Assembly. I nearly choke. I don't know about the dry biscuit, right? Um, but I choked. Why I choke is because I said, "Is this the 11th hour?" After I made this comment that the opposition will put no confidence in the Speaker after all the violations that had taken place at the level of the National Assembly by the PPPC installed government. And as I read the article in Minute twice, then I would have realized it wasn't on the grounds that I would have established for the no confidence of the Speaker, but it was for other reasons, which I support. But I believe my reasoning is the best and the one that could go forward and be challenged in the court of law.
Great, great, great. I say, wherever the, for the want of a better word, the help is coming from, we accept it. And so the leader of the opposition, Mr. Joseph Harmon, outlined, as you rightly said, a number of areas, a number of infractions. And I would say this for the listening public, listening to us from around the world, that when we entered into this National Assembly in this latest dispensation, um, to Harmon's credit, he said, we can give you a fair chance. We can give the speaker a fair chance. And we give you a fair chance, but we have seen systematically how Mansour Nadir, as speaker, has sidestepped official questions posed to members of the government in the National Assembly for responses. And some of them give the most flimsiest, most disrespectful responses to the people of this country. We see how several motions were tabled, how the speaker used every opportunity, every legal mumbo jumbo and acrobatics to say why the motions aren't valid, why they're improperly tabled, and a whole host of nonsense. And so we've had our fill. And so, and to our MPs' credit too, I've heard quite a few MPs in the past would have suggested that, from their own reading of standing orders and the laws of this country, this man is squatting in the National Assembly. As the public know, we took two of the parliamentary secretaries before the High Court. They were deemed to be sitting in the National Assembly illegally, just like the Speaker. Onij Waldron, who held the Bible and lied to this nation that she wasn't a dual citizen, she had to be taken to court too. So I think you're absolutely right, Jai Paul, that this matter should be taken to the court and the Speaker challenged on legal grounds. Walk us through, perhaps, what those legal grounds are in your mind. Why he is squatting in the National Assembly and is not legally sitting there.
Sherrod, let me just recite what I could recall from the post that I would have made since November
Go right ahead, sir.
of 2021. And it basically would have said the PAPC is a serial violator of the Constitution through deliberate misinterpretation to misrepresent the application of the laws, to avoid playing by the rules to favor themselves. So your listeners in belt should understand and know that we know the nature of the beast for the past 23 years, Duncan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you could say as true to form, the other vice president, and we know who he is. He purported himself as being vice president, but I made a post to show you why he should be called a second vice president or other vice president in accordance to the Constitution. And here again, this other vice president, I believe, because being the leader of the PUPC had caused the unlawful nomination and election of the Speaker of the National Assembly in violation of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. The PUPC candidate, Mansour Nadir, as Speaker of the National Assembly is unlawful by virtue of him sitting in the National Assembly as non-elected Speaker and Member of Parliament. Sherrod, I'm going to say this to the Speaker. I'm humbly requesting the Speaker to do the honorable thing and resign as Speaker of the National Assembly. Given that he was part of the PPPC national top-up list
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
candidates. And Sherrod, he was listed on that list at number 63. Number 63. You could go and check the official gazette of the 18th of January 2020, and you will see his name on the national top-up list at number 63, Mansour Nadir. But what we saw happen is, Sherrod, he was not extracted to sit as an MP on the government side of the house.
Uh-huh.
And so as a result, Sharon, as a result, he cannot now claim that he is a non-elected member. Sharon, people should understand the definition for elected and non-elected member. Once you on the list and that list go through an election, every single person on that list is deemed as elected, but they don't sit in the National Assembly unless they're extracted.
Mm-hmm.
So once your name is on the list of a political party, you're deemed as elected. And the speaker is elected. So he cannot sit both as elected and non-elected. Because right now he's sitting as a non-elected. So Duncan and viewers, listeners, sorry, from the Below the Belt program, I further conclude that Mansour is not a lawful member of parliament, since his membership is by virtue of his unlawful election as Speaker of the National Assembly. I am, Sharon, this is very important.
Tell us, sir.
And, and so at this point, Sharon, I'm contending that the election of Mr. Mansour was done in violation of Article 56.2 of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, since he's sitting as both elected and non-elected member of the National Assembly. And you may want to know, your listeners may want to know what this Article 156.2 would have stated.
Tell
And
them.
basically, it would have said, Sherry, the Speaker may be elected from among the members of the Assembly who are not ministers or parliamentary secretaries, who are not member of the Assembly, but qualified for election as member. And that is what basically see. So right away, you could see how this thing is being violated. The Constitution is being violated. And if you have any questions to me for further explanation, I will avail myself to answer those questions.
Thanks very much, Jai Paul. This notion here of the speaker squatting in the National Assembly, and have the strong belief you're absolutely right that he is squatting in the National Assembly. This seems similar to that very case of Sarah Brown and Mr. Ramkissoon, I think it is, who were also sitting
Exactly.
illegally in the National Assembly.
Exactly. And if the learned judge had ruled, and I think it was the Chief Justice,
Yep, yep,
I
yep,
can't
yep.
recall, if the Chief Justice has ruled in the parliamentary secretary was sitting illegally, you know why she ruled so? The Honorable Chief Justice ruled that way? Because I think she would have indicated there can be both elected and unelected. Because those two persons was also on the list, the PVP list. So they were deemed to be elected. So you can't bring them in as unelected members. Basically, that is what parliamentary secretary are, unelected members.
Yep.
When you're unelected, because you weren't on a party list, but you're qualified. If the party had wanted to put you on, you qualified according to the constitution to go on the list by virtue of being 18, being a Guyanese, and things of that nature. That is the qualification.
Fantastic. I hope the listeners are benefiting from this conversation that we're having. You know, folks are listening to us from all over the world. Folks like Marlon King, we see you out there. Jacqueline Ward and uh, uh, Clive Jackson, Brian Singh, Carol Jacobs, Carlton Beverly, and Terrence Melville. Folks, share the live stream so that other persons can benefit from our international podcast below the belt. And we want to see the emojis as well. We want to see what are the emotions out there. Robin Lorraine and Dennis Mitchell, and Mark Doris, Roy Garraway, Yuli, is it not? Good to see each and every one of you. Hope you guys have had a fantastic weekend. I'm joined today by a very, very special guest, Mr. Jai Paul Sharma, who is of the opinion that the Speaker of the National Assembly, Mansur Nadir, is squatting in the National Assembly. He is illegally sitting as well, he's illegally sitting, period, in the National Assembly and as Speaker. And folks, Jai Paul Sharma, as you know, is the former minister within the Ministry of Finance, did a fantastic job there, and he is currently the leader and general secretary of the Equal Rights and Justice Party. Equal rights. That's what we need in this country. Equal rights and justice. He's the leader and general secretary of the Equal Rights and Justice Party. And folks, just to qualify what, not that it needs any qualification, what Jai Paul has just said, it was the Chief Justice who said in that very case of Sarah Brown and Vikash Kisoon that the PPP had sitting illegally in the National Assembly and knew it. They knew it. They impactly didn't strip it. They knew they were illegal, but they were trying to hoodwink Guyanese once more, like they're trying to hoodwink Guyanese with this same illegal speaker. They knew they were illegal. And it was the Chief Justice who said, in her words, quote unquote, can the third and fourth respondents, Sarah Brown and Vikash Ramkisoon, be members of the National Assembly despite being elected non-extracted members? I think not. That doesn't sound like the Chief Justice for you. The Honorable Roxanne George Wiltshire. Can the third and fourth respondents, Sarah Brown and Vikash Ramkisoon, be members of the National Assembly despite being elected non-extracted members? I think not. Jai Paul.
Absolutely correct. A lot of persons don't want to agree with Madam Chief Justice because of the way the learned Chief Justice acting would have ruled. And again, using the word acting, we should not be having an acting Chief Justice this long, Sherrod. And I don't know what this
It's a
installed
shame and
president do
disgrace.
not have a dialogue, meaningful consultation with the present leader of the opposition to have these two wonderful women of the level of the Chief Justice acting and the Chancellor of Judiciary acting to be confirmed in the position. This uncertainty in the high office, the whole in the judiciary, could be seen as something that are holding them back from ruling in a way that everyone can rule. I don't want to say they're not ruling how they're supposed to rule, but when you have uncertainty in tenure of the office or position, it may have an effect in the way you operate.
But Jaipal, this has
Your
always been the
independence could
hallmark
be
of
in
the
question.
PPP, uncertainty, and according to Irfan's own pronunciation of the word, or yeah, uncertainty is the hallmark of the rule.
Well, correct. they have uncertainty in holding their position, and that is fearful.
Yep, yep,
The
yep, yep,
judiciary
yep,
is the
yep.
independent arm of government. There are three arms, as you know, and that is the arm that will interpret the constitution, interpret laws, and even deal with elections petition. And if you have uncertainty in that position, it could affect the judgment of these wonderful, learned female justice.
Yep, yep. And Jaipal, you were part of the administration as we on this aspect of our subject. When we, I would say, devolve power to these constitutional agencies like the judiciary, these constitutional agencies and bodies, like the judiciary, since them boys come in, they pull them back. Again, we had to carry them to court on the matter, and the court says, no, you cannot go about doing it the way that this government, this installed regime, wanted to go and do that. And so now they are now holding on, as you say, to not conforming these learned justices. This is probably the only country in the world where we so backward, Jaipal.
I agree. I agree. It's very frightening. It's very shameful, and I'm not feeling happy to call myself a Guyanese, especially a Guyanese in a cooperative producing republic that people have to have a dry biscuit and lemongrass is good for you. Good. It's for my cholesterol. But at the same time, I ever had a choice. I couldn't do better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is where we are, folks. This is where we are. The amount of cases, I don't know if the attorney general installed, I don't know if he win a case yet in the High Court since they gone in. The amount of cases we brought against them coming out from the National Assembly alone could fill could fill volumes of textbook. If it's not ONIDGE, it's the permanent secretaries, it's the constitutional agencies, it's budget issues, you name it. Jaipal rightfully situated them as being the serial violators of rules and processes of the law, of the constitution. And these folks can want to come and tell you about due process, about rule of law, about democracy, about transparency and good governance, and they don't practice none of it. Absolutely none of it. Jaipal.
Sherrod, or as I fondly call you, Sherrod, and you know, I people must open their mind to the fact that if indeed this matter is put in the National Assembly as a no confidence basis, as how I outlay it and ask for his resignation, which is simple, or would he want to embarrass himself and we go to the High Court in front of the Chief Justice acting and deal with this matter, and he will lose that case. Would he want that? But more than that, Sherrod, what happened to the 2020 budget? This was passed, the 2022 budget that was passed, and even all the laws, but most importantly, the Natural Resources Fund Act that they brought forward to replace, to repeal our act. It was a very good act. What happened to those actions by the speaker
Yep.
that was illegal?
Yep. Yep. It's so disgraceful to see how the speaker operates. And as confidence motion articulates, he has really and truly by his conduct brought the National Assembly into disrepute. You know, the good thing would have been for the speaker in the last sitting of National Assembly, well, rather when the infamous Natural Resource Fund bill was passed, was to suspend the assembly and try to regain some order in the assembly. No, no, no. You had their MP shouting and abusing members of the opposition. It was a boisterous atmosphere in the National Assembly, and there was the installed finance minister reading through, as though that can be considered a debate, and then them hurriedly passing um, illegally this measure, all of their MPs on their feet, out of their seats, and they want to convince us that this bill was legally passed, and legally passed by a man who is sitting illegally in National Assembly. It's too much to swallow. Touch, Jaipur.
But Sharon,
Too much to
you
swallow.
still, you still have a lot of guts. You have a lot of guts and respect and manners to you to be calling these people honorable and even finance minister. When the own government don't respect Dr. Ashley Singh as a finance minister, they reduced the Ministry of Finance, which I was a minister of, to annex to the
Yep.
office of the
Well, the other
president.
thing too long for me to call, minister with responsibility within the ministry of the office of the president installed. There's a mouthful, Jaipal. It's a mouthful. And they have indeed reduced it to nothing, an annex. Talk to us about that, man. Talk to me about that.
Yes, so by reducing to annex and not giving the Dr. Ashley Singh a man that I worked with since I was in the office of the Auditor General, you know, and I have a lot of respect for him as a public servant. I can't say the same as a politician. Uh, uh, I don't believe he should have stooped to that level to be called such a title.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is the reason why this Natural Resource Fund Act, this new act that they put, is just a gimmick. Because technically, if a ministry is not properly given to a minister, a substantive minister in the Ministry of Finance, called the Ministry of Finance, then technically, according to the Constitution, that ministry belongs to the president or maybe the other vice president.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did draw to many persons' attention when you gazette minister's responsibility, when the vice president responsibility was gazetted, it should not include anything. It should be just what the president say to him what he must do. But under the gazetted order for the vice president, which is the other vice president, this gazette had issues and matters to deal with with finances of the country. It should never be the case. I was a minister within the ministry. My gazetted portfolio was whatever the minister of finance gave me to do. Right? So I don't have a portfolio. It's whatever is delegated to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so being a vice president, you don't have a portfolio unless like the AP and UAFC government, where you are vice president and a cabinet minister with a portfolio. Okay? So people must
Yeah.
understand the distinction in these matters. And people should understand that Mark Phillips, the Honorable Mark Phillips, the Brigadier, that is the first vice president. And as I pass in this day and age where the United Nations recognizing the people of African ancestry, that is installed PPPC regime, going to going to I pass our Guyanese of African ancestry by not awarding the title of first vice president to the prime minister of the country. In style, of course.
Yep. 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 And any one of those things, Jaipal, you spoke about there, can be a show in and of itself. That is how I keep telling our viewers and listeners that we could be on every hour of the day, every day of the month, and we got content based on this PPP install regime and how they operate. And as you articulated there, Jaipal, you were the minister within the Ministry of Finance. And they couldn't have you there with an impending budget on Wednesday that touches and concerns all of these matters because there's an illegal speaker going to be presiding. An illegal speaker will be presiding. So it touches and concerns all of that. Where are we economically in this country? You said, you prefaced your initial response by saying things tight. Oh God, we as Guyanese, especially those of us home here, the couple we left, we feel it too acutely. Things tight. What are your thoughts as we go into this third budget of burdens?
I don't want to consider it a budget. It's illegal once it's passed by an assembly with an illegal speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So, however, if you want me to touch on the 2020 rush budget and the 2021 budget, medium budget, of course, it was not balanced. And where they was getting these large sums of money to finance these deficits, they weren't getting it from anywhere. That's the reason why they want to take all of the savings of the Natural Resource Fund to reduce the deficit that they have presently in the consolidated fund. So we need to like have a day to day update. If there's something called the IFMIS or the IFMAS,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the system administrative finance there that the entire government accounting system follows. We could have a day-to-day live report on how spending happen. We could have reports on a live basis and the consolidated fund in relation to its overdraft. We could have maybe regular updates at GRA in relation to the revenue collected and things of this nature. Look, we have vessels that floating around in the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean flying our flag. Maybe it could say flags. Uh, sure, I shouldn't correct myself. So we don't know what is really happening to this country. You have installed Minister of Public Works standing in the National Assembly saying, under our administration, our installed administration, many ships he could prove would have increased in the terms of the docking at the ports in Georgetown. And then you have this revelation that there is vessels out there flying the Guyana flag, and you want to know if MARAD, which I had responsibility for, shared.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I shared responsibility with Minister David Patterson because he mentioned Ministry of Finance, but I served about almost a year at the Ministry of Public Infrastructure,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and
Correct.
so
Correct.
that agency would have some of my attention. That is MARAD. And so you would have noticed I made a post and I would show a contract that it's currently on the website, on the website. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not something somebody from inside want to give me. I'm sure the PAP gonna want to believe that if somebody share the document with me. But with a little search and little persistence on the website, Sharon, the number of things you could find there is unbelievable. And here there is this contract, which basically conflicts with the statement of the head of MARAD, right? And so basically, this international maritime body could be, as we speak, issuing international vessels with registration
Correct.
and
Correct.
entitlement
Correct.
to fly
Frightening.
Guyana flag. Now, when you have a fire, Sharon, at a port, for me, a lot of people don't understand my background. And my background started probably, you could say, in 1992, when I started out as a clerk in the office of the Auditor General. I did a lot of auditing of ministries, departments, regions, international financial projects, and a lot of investigations. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Based on those investigations, some of them include a lot of fires that occurred under the PPP. And when I see fire, I know some cover up. So when you have vessels floating around with weapons and other illicit things and a port is on fire, you want to know where that vessel was to dock. What confusion you want to cause,
Talk to us about that
right?
because
In that process.
there are people who are connecting the dots to that vessel found
Yeah.
with the arms and ammunition in Senegal and you fire down there at that wharf.
Yes. So when you're a person like with my kind of conducting these
Go right ahead, Jaipal.
these
Hello?
work, these investigations in the past, you know, you always have the feeling that
Jaipal, I'd only ask that you move a little closer to the mic. We're hearing you faint. song. Let's just see what's happening. Guys, how are you receiving us? All right, some are saying no. It's all kind of things they're gonna be trying, Bear with us, guys. We're gonna get it right. All right, some folks are saying no song, no song, no song. Bear with us. Let's see what's happening. Guys, let us know if that. Oh, they're saying the song is back. Go right ahead, Jaipal. You are saying.
Yes, to your listeners, Sherrod. Uh, uh, what I'm having, what I'm seeing, what I'm predicting is that a large budget, the largest budget ever again. But where is it the benefit in the poor and ordinary people? This trickle down economics of the PPP is not working out because yes, the budget is large. There's a lot of large projects that are happening in the country, and most of them using, of course, money from the treasury, the people money, the treasury, the people's money, and it is not trickling down to the people because basically the contractors are aligned to international firms and not local firms and things of that nature. There are mega projects. You saw when we were in opposition, Marriott was being constructed, and not even a Guyanese was employed to push a wheelbarrow until we protested. Then they brought in some Guyanese to push wheelbarrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep,
at
yep.
Ministry of Finance, I had some oversight for that project, that Marriott, and shared the things I learned from the board about what they found was wrong with the hotel. It just confirmed what we were seeing in opposition, the quality and the type of construction that occurred there. But most of all, Sharon, that hotel was built fully by taxpayers, and our ordinary people cannot visit that hotel, cannot afford a
Correct,
room, cannot
correct,
afford
correct.
a lunch or a dinner at that hotel. There's no concession for Guyanese to say we're going to be treated special, we're going to be given a special price if you want to visit the hotel, have lunch or dinner, or host a party. There's nothing like that, you know. But yet, we came into government and we tried to turn things around for that hotel by removing the debt of that hotel. And we brought it on the books of the government, Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
And this government turned around and cost us for that act. And they're saying how we wrong, the hotel is making profit. But if we didn't take away the debt from the hotel would not be making profit. You know, the first 3 months operation in that hotel, they couldn't even pay the GPL bill,
Wow,
right?
wow.
And so, you know, people don't know the truth. And I like to enlighten people about the truth and what is happening.
Well, Shama, in that budget, you're likely to have a lot of big projects, but every independent thinker and organization, NGO, entities like Starbucks News would tell you these boys ain't good with big projects like the Marriott and Skeldon and a Mile of Falls and them thing. Oh my God. If you know a set of people more bad at managing projects, is a PPP. And it fits in exactly with what you're articulating there with the Marriott. And we all got to ask ourselves if after the last two budgets of the PP, we're any better off. And they were all biggest budgets ever. But we're not better off. And it took an independent fella like Crabman the other day to really and truly voice what every Guyanese has felt since these guys come in. Pressure, pressure, Jaipod, pressure.
You don't have to tell me, Sharon, I'm a Guyanese. I'm living in Guyana.
Hmm.
And I know the pressure of the people, the ordinary people.
And
And
that's what,
Sharon,
yep. Great head, Jaipod.
You spoke about failed projects. The PPP always fail on mega projects. Always. History would say to you. So when I'm seeing that in 2021, they have they indicating that they will proceed on mega projects that value hundreds of millions of US dollars, billions of dollars, US dollars, not Guyanese dollars. I'm fearful. I can't sleep. I have nightmares. The Marriott was one. The Barbies Bridge is the other. The Skeldon project is another. The one laptop for family is a next example, a shining example. the fiber optic cables are a failure.
Oh yes.
The
Oh yes.
GPL expenditure in the transmission and distribution line from the Demerara to the Borbase interconnective system of failure. Every single large project is they they even failed at distributing a $25,000
Yep.
COVID relief.
Yep. We're still waiting on the
They
audit.
failed at distributing 25,000 flood relief. Why they fail? People still holding pink slips in their hand.
Correct is right.
This is the failed administration. Why people don't see it? Why they don't see it? Because some person are benefiting and some person are just blinded because it's their people in office.
Mm-hmm. 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 And you know that's what they say. They say it's we time. It's we time. And the corruption is rampant. We heard recently what has transpired there between the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Guyana Prison Service. We see Sharon Hicks and the Ministry of Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, they have renamed it. And that is symptomatic of every ministry is run-ins, is a country of run-ins. That's what's happening here, is a country of run-ins. That's how people getting by, run-ins. We're in a bad spot, Jai
Well,
Paul, and I think you've articulated it well.
uh,
Go right ahead.
no, under the PPP, no run-ins, no living. You know, and those are small things you're speaking about, Shara. Those are minuscule things. I don't waste time on it. I go after the big fishes, and, and this administration never went after a big fish. If it's weapons, if it's drugs, illicit drugs, if it's pharmaceutical,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
so we need to change it. These little things that you mentioned is distraction
Yep.
to show that they're doing something, that they're identifying corruption, even if they have to sink one of the small fish, right?
Correct, correct, correct. It's never the sharks. It's never the
Never the
catfish.
shark.
It's never the snappers. It's always the little cacabellies. It's always them. Right? It's never the
Yes.
people who pushing the 2 tons of coke to Belgium. It's never the said that pushing the 1,100 pounds of cocaine to the Netherlands. It's never the said that shipping the 3 container freights of arms and ammunition is always the little cacabellies. Always the little cacabellies. It's the ones that taking the 200,000 a month bribe from little contractors.
Yes.
It's them. It's the little cacabellies. Never the big fish.
Yes.
Never the catfish. Jaipal, your
Yes,
final
you're
thoughts
right.
as we wrap up. And Jaipal, I'm going to say here and put you on the spot. I am going to prevail on you this week as we look to this impending budget, for more of your thoughts and guidance on this very issue here of the national budget, on these programs.
No problem, Sharad. I'm pleased. I'm happy to be a part of your viewership in your program below the belt and in the ring. I'm a fan of yours. So
I'm humble, sir. I am
you
I'm
have my
most
presence.
humble. Thanks very much, Mr. Sharma, Jai Paul Sharma, for spending this time with us. Folks, as you know, Jai Paul is the former minister within the ministry, as he said, of infrastructure, former minister within the ministry of finance, and he is the current leader and general secretary of the Equal Rights and Justice Party. The Equal Rights and Justice Party, leader and general secretary, Mr. Jai Paul Sharma. What a privilege it has been to host him today on our humble podcast, Below the Bell. Thanks for joining us, sir.
It was all my honor, sir.
Great. I'll see you later in the day. Hint, hint. Thanks, sir.
Okay, bye.
Folks, the man himself, Mr. Jai Paul Sharma, the man himself, I see Odessa Primus just shop. You see, it's never the big fishes, you know. It's always the little cacabellies. We never catch the big fishes like Odessa Primus and the other people. It's always the little cacabellies. Marilyn King, good to see you out there, folks. This is what's happening. We're heading into the National Assembly at 2 o'clock. They're coming with some nonsense. Let me alert y'all. They're coming with some nonsense in the National Assembly this afternoon. Some nonsense. I reading the Starbucks news here. Front page. APNU AFC members facing discipline over bad behavior. Right? They didn't even mention on the front page. And they got space the motion of no confidence against the speaker that was submitted. They got it here on page 3. Folks, we out there. Some of we taking this thing light. We got to start putting we money where we mouth there. We got to start putting we money where we mouth in this country. A lot of decisions we got to make out here. It's a new year, and we says pace and power. In 2022, we got to start putting we money where we mouth there. A lot of people can't be on the ground, but y'all got to help other people who on the ground to stay on the ground. And still, this I see a certain nonsense say they didn't even have. They always listen to me. Stambuk News never condemn this administration unless it's absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. They got it in here with no confidence motion, but they took it in page 3. And big on the front page is APNU AFC members, MPs facing discipline over bad behavior in national assembly. You see this nonsense? You see this nonsense, folks? Or when Dan Cook, hope you all seen, Deborah Clark, or with, Kevin, Joe, and Clive Jackson, Penelope Hudson. Hope you all seeing. Hope you all seeing. And these crosses, these trench crappos like Ricardo Rodriguez, these trench crappos, I like when they come in the chat. I like when they come. It's help the algorithm to keep us on top. These crosses and trench crappos like Richard Ricardo, these jacobats, y'all deal with them in the comments. Deal with them in the comments. I know y'all able. Deal with them in the comments. The trench crappos and the jacobats like Ricardo Rodriguez. Deal with them. Folks, help us to stay in the air. Jaipal Sharon put it right. Things tight. He's a guy in easy living, you know it. Things tight. Folks, we have several platforms available. We missed you guys yesterday. And we were off here to tell you, we're doing some work at the studio, and there was a lot of drilling. The guys were here doing a lot of drilling, putting some stuff in place for us, making sure that we're comfortable here and doing a lot of drilling. And so if we were only coming here, y'all hear a lot of a lot of noise in the background, a lot of drilling. Now I'll be drilling for you. We still lucky. We just drilling, but it wasn't I'll drilling. Good to have each and every one of you today. Nonetheless, we're going to be back in the ring this evening strong. Folks, we got several platforms available. Some of y'all come and listen every day and never say, hey, take a banana. Y'all ain't easy, Hey, take a ice apple. Y'all ain't easy. Nevertheless, we got to be out here doing what we're doing, folks. We got several platforms available for you all to be able to contribute to our program to keep us going. Our international podcast, Below the Belt, y'all see we picking up steam. Hey. And them trench crappos and jackabat, they're listening, The speaker don't know what we talk here. Papa Jagabat don't know what we say here already. And we love it so. We love it so. They got more for here. Don't only tap we phone and so listen to the program. You can hear exactly what happening. Don't only tap we house phone and we cell phone and them things. We know y'all listening. Y'all don't think we know. Y'all ever hear a concept in political warfare, misdirection? Misdirection, all right. We know y'all listening into we house phone, we cell phone, all kind of madness. That's who y'all be. Y'all don't surprise me. And we know they're listening here to the transcribers and the jagabats. Listening in. Several platforms available. We got the Cash App. It's the dollar sign or the dollar symbol in the ring 592. That's our Cash App handle. The dollar sign or the dollar symbol in the ring 592. Folks, it won't get any simpler than this. We're also available now via PayPal. Our PayPal email address is in the ring 592 at Gmail. In the ring 592 at Gmail. We're also available at Zelle. It's the very same email that we use for PayPal. At Zelle, our email address is in the ring 592 at gmail.com. In the ring 592. We have a Zelle email. We're also available via the Guyanese Cash App GTNT. Our number there is 627-6963. 627-6963. We are available via MoneyGram and Western Union as well. Look how many platforms we have available to you guys. Guys, pick one of them. Find a way to help us to keep moving forward. And very shortly, y'all going to see why we did drilling. We got drill here too. We got to set a firm foundation. Y'all going to see why we did drilling at this end. Good to have each and every one of you on the podcast. We're going to see you guys right back here tomorrow. If you guys need any guidance on any of these platforms, you need any guidance, WhatsApp us at 627-6963. That's our MMG number as well. WhatsApp us at 627-6963. And those of you who've been so generous, helping us to move from strength to strength on a monthly basis, or even those who just give a one off, it's so meaningful to us. Guys, we know so many things vie for your attention and your resources too on a daily, monthly basis. We are so privileged. We don't take it lightly, you know. We don't take it lightly. Let me tell you something. We don't buy a snow cone from the funding you all give us. Every dime goes back into these programs. The In the Ring program, the Below the Belt program, the Credible Sources, our website, folks. That entity that we're building out there. And you all check it out. We've already released 3 stories for the day, giving you more information on what is happening here. And we got more stories to release throughout the day. We are doubling efforts, guys, stretching the little money that we get from y'all to make it do, to get you guys the credible and valid information. That is what we're committed to. We wish we could do it for free, but it costs something, especially in the season where things tight. And we're so grateful for the help of each and every one of you guys. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to us what you guys are doing and how we are helping each other step by step to move forward, to expand what we're doing. Thank you so much. We're going to see you guys right back here in the ring. We want to see those shares and we want to see those emojis as well. Pace and power in 2022. Guys, we hope you're having a fantastic time at work. Don't take stress, you know. Don't you run things, don't let things run you in all that you do. We know in North America, guys, I know how it's busy there, how you guys are busy, how every cent counts. We know that. We know that. Thanks for spending this time with us. Thanks for spending this time with us. It's so meaningful. And we value your resources. We know how hard people work in this world, you know, in this country and overseas. We know how hard you work. And so we spend your finance even more diligently, with even more respect. See you guys back in the ring. We want to see those emojis. We want to see those shares. Good to see you, Urban Don Cook, Robin Lorraine, and Beatrice Selby, Clive Jackson, Claire Alexis, Charmley Richmond, Vereen Bryan. Good to see you as well. Good to see you. Is it Denisha Newenkirk? Tasha Salet, good to see you as well. Thanks for joining us, Marilyn King, and all you fantastic folks. See you guys back here at 8 Strong in the ring. We may have a broadcast or two before that time based on what transpires in the National Assembly. Looking forward to seeing you guys and hearing from you. Thanks for staying with us. Thanks for joining our podcast, Below the Belt. Who vex lose. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe.